Adom Marakwa Yasanso and we say you. Of course we are here. And that's just a latest sports stories for her. And when see them anyway say you have a bonkomo. Baby, catch the one now also subscribe if you want to say. Let's get going because a lot of things that any who are discussing. This is your usual back to back. Latest. And of course, I am here with Biggie. Open you guys see me I find here. Fantastic. The tennis said, me no can see Chelsea 4-year training at USA. And say Chelsea Bobo one for Palmeiras game, you know. Into Chelsea training the big Oheswa. Joao Pedro, new signing. Straight Obaya, Papa. Yenimre. On say the reason why Chelsea for fun, no, was because Chelsea feels so much here and him work. Into Joao Obaya. And then we unveil in ya on a crano. And the Chelsea training me who Romeo Lavia. My share pictures in my who Romeo Lavia. Romeo Lavia, you boba couldn't go to you. Aqua way cry, Eddie has some cranny. But Joao Pedro say, all about Chelsea, no, on Andrew Santos, Edin Como. Say, Master, baby, I may ban a year. Or Andrew Santos convince no, and or this side is so. Andrew Santos, where will you born bimo? But Tawa Joao Pedro, or more yen on Valley, no, for a picture, baby, Joao Pedro Kujina. Big work here. I had a yasa mukumama now.
I had a America.
Okay.
I had America.
Sir, Lake Bosum Chew.
With the America pa.
You see, because of this situation, I was saying Chelsea, Koye pictures, official pictures, you know, beachside, you understand?
Sure.
Now, what kind of Raheem Sterling so honestly US is an way.
Yeah.
Honestly, so who difference is a roll pictures in the had. Me someone for air trending pictures we say, hey, and they are two.
Supporters, you know, make us a supporters and I'm more against Chelsea.
Against
because me sure say Chelsea supporter be Ebeka Sasem no more against Chelsea no and now feel say maybe Raheem Sterling could deny our unveiling at the match Chelsea Bobo no and Joao Pedro so could deny at the Argentina and I just said the Sterling performance for Chelsea in the year, you know. Sana Joao Pedro Debbie. It is football. The BIA buying every player is a gamble. And see, ubetimi out to play or form pa, but Obebano, na neman conkai famano. Tibetimi as Sisa Joao Pedro Bana or Bananeman conkai. But before I started any Besino, I think these are two different players. At time on Moba Chelsea, no, or Joao Pedro. A fena branty any peja, or Bobo na and Yeme Fademano, and a Chelsea Quaco fan denaba. If you are talking about Raheem Sterling, the NL was all football mono. A greater part of it was Liverpool. I was Manchester City. And Sana all three honum about joining Chelsea Bobo Kono. It is a whole Raheem Sterling now. Coming to Chelsea, now the performance, you know, air conform. Yes, now shall see it because if Raheem Sterling is a player, and Pep Guardiola being here power Manchester City set up Limoa, there was no way he was going to allow him come to Chelsea. Now coach and you see player and every and the ocean you know the free player anymore and I feel Jah Branty no Emma Branty and so yeah then EBP more Chelsea.
Now Biggie say Chelsea Okoma Swaya sporting directors and Penifona tax almost say as soon as possible or clear out. There are lots of players there with Chelsea. Joao Felix for instance or Istanbul see I'm not say now for few say Ebia will be called Galatasaray and answer way, but still no one Gala form for offer Bianco if the batching far off and call is to say Oma taxi Paul West Stanley any lowest was to say he should make sure say those unknown players now virtually unimportant players. I'm sorry I'm using those words there. They need to go and now players need be so Chelsea fee say Yenka say ye ton Nicholas Jackson Noni Madueke Malo goes to Sebe de ba na a Chelsea pa they will let go.
Yes, all top players, no, I was all maybe call because unya a sizable number of players and as a squad a boa coaching and when it comes to player selection. And definitely there are players that also move features to squad name no more. You made mention of Joao Felix. I think the Joao Felix problem pass is here. Because he has a good agent, he always wants to play for a big club. And not any problem. But baby, Joao Felix says he needs to get a middle class team. Any respect because he's played for bigger clubs. Some level of respect. They are normal decide say time will be an game. Football is a talent exhibition. The more you play, you become better. And anything because practice makes a man perfect. And today be a Joao Felix airborne, not get back to the best of form. But the one not because of you say who a good agent into a big club need to be now. But every big club there is pressure. And the pressure, what team nimintino, Obabaku, Mienuna, and far. Yama want to also mobium. You better relegate you to the bench. And no any branch any problem. Oko AC Milan at the start it was good. But about 1, 2, 3 and a half Mfano because of the pressure in AC Milan, because it is a big club and almost signed in the Kokotana bench. But anke a middle class team be, ebia Udinese be, ebia team be a wofum bia. Anka de bi omo be mo abo.
But it's no anka sad ohun who saw a star.
That is why I'm saying it's a problem. They say he feels he's a big boy, and then he has a good agent.
Yeah.
And to me, team Cassie and Quadia may be the time be as a semi team Cassie. But Team Cassie be under pressure womb. It's only your time Mount fan gets it back to the best of form.
Should he go back to Benfica?
As someone come back and come because Abia Team Cassie one by Benfica. Because that was where he started. They have that kind of respect for him as a former player. And this is how the break team, due to the performance, Atletico Madrid, the Babe fan, it's all Kobe Bisa where you started from. They have some sort of respect to me at the mouth. They are always going to make sure, say, ball, and we shouldn't forget, say, a Chrome team. Or Portugal. If you become a better player, if you get back to the best of form, you are becoming better for the Portuguese national team. That alone gives you an advantage. In the na onko because clubs now pressure wo hono ne de obi ani wo benya time ama say de bia wo no way mistakes no akoso wabo ke de be kwa akọda keto from the team near
I'm for a scared coming for him anyway. Yeah, the story is in a far just like normally we do. Manchester United, Oli Watkins has been offered to Manchester United. Aston Villa say a year 60 million pounds. 60 million pounds. Manchester United a catch rent for na omo ede boy ni din bechro mo say 60 die faso bi omuntimi ntia
Kohu Manchester United as a club should be serious.
Yeah, some more.
Yes. You are competing with other clubs. And clubs now no more competing. So omo ya ade chen wa na se CV na etwam no omo ya ade chen wa e was say we build the team no based on the kind of quality omo no wo to become better than them. Liverpool now or G League no she signings are Liverpool here. Baby e to see no Liverpool top player who say top player Oba na oba be make an impact. Ebetimi abase player na be ba emfa. But kopem say sa be see there. Every player Liverpool is buying, a player, most of them obe make an instant impact. Apart from Abia Magay and Obeka say Oba be backup. But omo ma ba ni nyina e ba be command the spot. Aba be improve the Liverpool team. Say Liverpool si on peso boslai. E won the number 10 position. Okofa Florian Wirtz. Look at the difference between the two players in terms of numbers. For the past 2 seasons, how many in their respective clubs, it's improving departments in India. See, our strikers are Liverpool, or pay Isaac, or pay Osimhen, or pay almost top level, normal proving. These are the strikers are almost pay. Manchester United. Now, more than one kind you check table number 4. I see a part and now that. Oh, you know, Watkins, Menkas or a bad player. But Manchester United needs players from here proving at this moment.
This is say proving, you know. A players are. I'm sure the word proving you are looking at Champions League standards.
Of course.
Say those players, how are you going to convince them to play for Manchester United? Maybe the only way might be money to entice them. Anyway, let me also add this to the conversation. I'm not sure about it also. Jadon Sancho and Juventus will marry a meeting this year. Juventus for me almost say they are describing the meeting as positive.
Okay.
According to Juventus, this year we meeting, no.
Kwakunti said in America, no. Manchester United as a club, so for Oli Watkins last season, goals are the Maya as a number 9. It was Premier League, it was around 16 goals in the Premier League. Into Amado figures. So all the strikers at Manchester United was this year, and now offer Oli Watkins there, you are bringing an upgrade. But we shouldn't forget the Manchester United team is one. Time and Manchester United, yeah, Manchester United, no. They just didn't buy upgrades of a players they have. Say me play as 8 into me for the watch 9 and after 10 the number there be Manchester United bought right players and good, especially in those positions. Number 9. Manchester United is no across now, no offer Robin Van Persie. No, they not buy Manchester United. That is the club I name. That is what the supporters know. And nothing and the supporters need to know. It is over to Oli Watkins for 60 million. Abra Victor Osimhen here around or available. Or you proven at the top level. Victor Osimhen from Napoli, Ekobo Galatasaray in Po. Even in the Europa League, he was among players on which he goes.
Biggie say, you know, Victor Osimhen level are withdrawn. Say, Uka say, Ombra Manchester United. Apart from he not playing the Champions League, one of those things you go use to entice him,
of course. That is why I made mention.
Because the wages, you know,
in 60 yeah.
With SAR system, no, Ebia Napoli for some 75 million euros. Which just 75 million euros are money. We know say or 12 million euros a year. What can some man you non forfeit Champions League number man you there? Then you are going to about 20 million euros. So now, no, how are you going to manage this vis-a-vis the conversation about financial fair play? Because one thing we also need to know, Manchester United do not know how to sell. Ebianisa Ramos Hoylondi, I was talking Inter Milan, the deal, you know, say Astole. Say United are not on set, say ultimate Tonwa. And now our ratio we say, meeting me my play be higher wages. Now me the
sure.
But United are unable to sell. You are not playing the Champions League, you are not getting money. So how are you going to do it?
Maybe a Manchester United Ginano. I am the sell can see that is the only idea. A bema the naya Conodiama players are on major Champions League or no Manchester United. Because there is no guarantee. Say Bana Oba Manchester United no Obaji Premier League. There is no guarantee say Oba Beji FA Cup. There is no guarantee say Manchester United will qualify for Champions League even in the coming season. And this is Sika and all the entice player and then Manchester United is still going to go for average players. Ababa Besha Manchester United Bobo Kunim. It's over to all right, but the baby Asiano, you are going to buy, but you didn't buy right. It's in a club number to a standstill, and we shouldn't forget it is a project you are building. It's a denam and a yinam. I was already be shut down and now the tunes with him. Now attractive fish, no babedi, Nansana Dranachino. It is the Manchester United in here ready. So you see money as a bait to attract players. Then the Manchester United club, it is good. It is
no,
but
the financial fair play is facing them.
Yes. It's the players you've already said that Manchester United doesn't know how to sell.
Yeah, of course.
Of which is a fact.
Yeah.
And the ABA player SMSC, Team Bipe, ABA Ganacho say Manchester United they quote 50. 50 million euros now will quote, you know. ABA will Bipe, but with 15 in a air scan away. What I say? And the other thing lower price tag, because who hears car? Into lower price tag no neje and they be ameka say omo Ghana ha say omo to ade a omo ma price a enye kra omo to talk condemn no ade na the price enye opa akoto fridge ne ka che condemn ru asa wo ton fridge no be ka che o say me ma 30 cedis o wi o say o fridge me mfa nya hwe moto bi na me tu akire the price enye because onim say ade na o de ma no ompe omfa nya hwe Manchester United na na ye clear say a lot of the players omo be kono United mpe
enu de e ya na hardwin uja
yes
Kofi Nevate no scraps for no kwakofa car edwuma no say scrap
obema price enye
2000
obema price enye so enti wo ma na hu sa ade no ompe enti e board ma ope na ode be ma na ade a ompe de e de na ho yere to me
see Lukaku everyone knew say he was not liked by Chelsea. Chelsea found a way to get 25 million, if I'm right.
Of course.
And see what is going on. Because I'm a club or a chief negotiator.
Oh, a title, a portfolio,
Hey, say Ruben,
what is he negotiating for Manchester United?
When him say, and then I'm who say, and then exactly 1 month, Brian Mbuemo, a declare say, Uncle Tots, number Bobo Man,
you. Club none, watching.
Hey,
na season, any crown. For me, I feel the Premier League now, your boy, the worst club in the Premier League, Manchester United.
And yes, space.
There be even on relegation. I see them to be better teams than Manchester United. Looking at the pedigree and standard of Manchester United, any position no could no. It's wo now more than money. And your man can't come from now. You have somebody with the title of chief negotiator. But as we speak, on teaming to players, me and some from now. And people have seen, say Manchester United is in dire need.
Of course.
It will play beyond one, no more Yirim, no more Bobo.
So you're desperate already.
And idea, your team beyond the team, no, your boss is in you now team in yet.
We are desperate as a
yes.
Mami Mamo, Oshinibi, Gazeta, a report to say, Darcel Dumfries, the contract mono, a shemuse from 1st of July to the 15th of July. Ubetimia trigger the clause 30 million euros pay, according to Gazeta.
As we
speak,
a right wing United. But then again, you ask yourself, say, is the player also ready to leave Inter Milan Boboko? No. Internet, at least say between Inter and Manchester United. Season ya Baba Remu. Yemo season when we do betimi age league, it is Inter Milan.
Of course.
Do betimi age domestic trophy aside league. Coppa Italia, FA Cup, then the Inter Milan. They are possible so bet me assign qualify for Champions League Inter Milan. It's Manchester United is not in that position. That is why I have say United into me Jessica and find certain signings because baby a Sika be attractive players. That is the problem for Manchester United now. It will players now on panel. Tete bonus no more open for camera mefa because the fact that player now fits into the scheme of work our Manchester United doesn't make that player a bad player on your team be a mobile. So they have to find a way. No Manchester players in the price tag and so. Find a bit me say who could be the one or Yirim or the boo. But because of a condition and new situation at home.
Prior price tag no. Chelsea for us answer catch the West Ham say. Omo pe Kudus still no ma. Name on say Chelsea na call on home face. And the West Ham say omo pe cash. Chelsea can say ye the place be my money the kakrebi ato so.
Yeah.
But Chelsea want to move place. Chelsea as soon as we shall catch West Ham for CC say. West Ham for reconsider. Na still na no they want the deal done. Name a player on more player. So say Chelsea be some comedy display hall mun nyina akọ. What I say? See, no so across to CC Chelsea for no.
To feel say no matter the bad season they had, one of our more priceless assets, Mohamed Kudus. In so no na akọ there. Looking at Sika Chelsea with the fast setting players, and the back Chelsea bobo kunim. Sika the fast João Pedro. Season na Ebowi and João Pedro had good numbers than Mohamed Kudus. No correct. But Obin to be convinced me say Kudus is a bad player or João Pedro is a better player than Mohamed Kudus. There be numbers no nya the channel. And still West Ham feel say if it's that good, any I was say Sika would be can on our far branch and then call. Because ya been say a pro player. Say pro player and you ever any for some senior I
think what Chelsea also know looking at is West Ham for first of all on say physical cash ne appear or account ma a boy of financial fair play.
Sure.
Change say Obabe and a swap. And moreover no Graham Potter say Omonton Kudus now finding ways of it me in your place baby. And again on no physical cash na or top player be amortize it.
Yeah.
But you and kitting financially it helps than taking individual players, but still no one.
And I've always said, sir, looking at how our football market in it has gotten to that point. Once you need the player, make sure you are going to cough out huge sums for the player. It's a obianya player who feels that this is my key player. Wow, baby, you also the boo not telling fast through.
Say been any man you also want to see.
Debut. I am talking about key players.
Okay.
Manchester they see a key player between me and Bruno Fernandes.
That's it. But anyway, Vinicius Junior and Real Madrid contract no. Vini put in hold kakra.
I quite hurting. So Real Madrid.
So for you no answer me. Madrid
I hurting. Because Vinicius Junior, to be honest, Madrid are be my brand no. But a brand no so what pin you said I'm Real Madrid boboko no. For the past 3 seasons, since a brand any back club anymore, he has never looked back. But for the past 3 seasons, he's been consistent with the performance. He played with the likes of Karim Benzema. Trophies are necessary. The last season, Benzema boy and Sana Ofi Real Madrid on an top scorer. Vini na second top scorer. After he left, Jude Bellingham by. He became the top scorer for Real Madrid. Vini was the second top scorer again for Real Madrid. Last season, Kylian Mbappe came. He became the top scorer for Real Madrid. Vini was the second top scorer for Real Madrid. And he's been consistent with good performances for Real Madrid. Even last season now you're seeing a performance in him. He was the second top scorer. And per the numbers game, he has always been there for Real Madrid. It was such a player. No making demands, sir. He feels to say there are other players in the squad. Semenyo man yepe amebro omoso. Enti eyesika say na mepe. Eye kasa mpenifo se kasa dem abato. The player knows say Madrid aye bebre ama no. And I am sure say Madrid ni abrante na tenase. Na nkomo ni ko yie nko de na wo say olowa ne niema bi finances ne niema bi na otena Madrid a. Abrante ni ready because if not for Madrid, why na nkebebo Vinicius Junior din say yemfa Ballon d'Or mfa no. It is because of Real Madrid.
Say kana open no. Say o attach numbers in terms of finances JC ni sanya man unse Madrid sure. No sikana I born whole body but see the auto A class no so anya born nko na yehwe you have to give us numbers ewo mechanizing and unfortunately he's not doing that. Ohwe na say Mbappe buy the kind of JC Mbappe etwa na o check his Madrid de man it makes a lot of sense but Vini no Madrid does not see him in that way. How many times now watch TV crana won't say supporters no Madrid JC are actually Vinicius Junior. How often do you see it?
Kogu no credit when it comes to JC sales and there Kylian Mbappe is there. And the difference between the two is Kylian Mbappe had made his name as a superstar before joining Real Madrid. But Vini there no obefa dinu or Real Madrid boboko anymore. And until na make us a player in him adia Madrid ayamano. It is a Madrid in the Casana Comunico Yim why are ready? So better than why the West kind. But then again, it comes back to a seminar kind, you know. So Madrid is looking at certain things that Kylian Mbappe de moment now. And so therefore the player feels to say, I am Mbappe nti and I'm Muye say. That is how the player feels. And no wa kwada ni tirim. And nti da mo no so aye twintwan no. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest. Real Madrid enya Vinicius Junior.
Very well.
And Vinicius to here Real Madrid.
Very well.
So Vinicius kwa Madrid was sika baby no betimi akofa player biaba. But then again you are bringing in a new player. I feel no be adapted to the Real Madrid system. What is even the guarantee? So betimi rise about do the level of Vinicius Junior because they've been players from about Real Madrid. Oman timi am peja me do Vinicius Junior level.
Well, yeah, Madrid, young Barça and Kobonko Moka Krebi Mrasisia because good news here Barcelona. But before that, team of the week, Club World Cup naba. Na Bonu goalkeeper, James right back, left back Hakimi, Thiago Silva Koulibaly 4 and 5, Cole Palmer, Joao Neves, Ricardo Rios, and Gonzalo Garcia. Hurricane so grass with me say. Place no be on do mo 12 fra Gonzalo Garcia baby o mo di negina we as ultimu say ye preposition e dia ma obi ni mo we ne den and team of the week no e dia ba na big ye and now ko Barcelona sisia me no ka say all the major newspapers e Barcelona a report story say Javier Tebas e inform Barcelona for say 1:1 na ya kan afeidie. Now, these are the reasons. Reason number 1. Barcelona closed the 2024-2025 financial year on June 30th with 950 million euro, 150 million euros revenue, surpassing the 893 million euros budgeted for. Barcelona for budget say in Kafi can revenue of 893 million, but we cried a much in your 950. Abi, but if 950 minus 893. Afe, La Liga president Javier Tebas confirmed the club met necessary conditions to return the financial normalcy. The key factor was crowing. Me pamcho omunaye say new auditors are audit Barcelona account, accepting the 100 million as income from the sales of rights of 475 VIP seats at the Spotify Camp Nou for 30 years. Again, 30 years on Barcelona aton 475 VIP seats. Na omunya engine tumu. Eche enokradi entina na according to Barcelona almost say almost 1:1. La Liga for say you are not into 1:2 because La Liga for no engine tumu. According to this report, almost say Crowley for no auditors no. So auditors no crab audits almost engine tumu. Because sir, let me take this 30 seconds. Let me explain this. Auditors no. So by G2 na nya writer, omutimi stripping the licenses. Inti do won na wa fa no. On ti ase about. Because ono so company ehia the yepa. Inti omo kra na omo engine tumu. But according to this report, again, there's reason why me sister say this report, no. This is Barcelona's camp saying say Javier Tebas afro. Say Javier Tebas not to say. Obetimi ababo ntia be kase masesa madwin. And terms according to them, and this is the statement they've released. Inti VIP tickets now 475. Ninyina no ebema 100 million euros. Some say crow if no accepted. This allowed Barcelona reason why I'm registered that new na Barcelona insist. However, crow if no validate 100 million, you know. And they say Barcelona board, if we've been informed, Oma catch Limac na company na omoye company no. Says to say Oma jatu do we speed things up na fi Barcelona for enye. And they say big uko Barcelona campus say no many is yaje no e chance am assign niku. According to them mom say be kwan ni mu ada ho. Sisia no ni nyina ba besi ade ba akoso. Ade ba akwa ba besi so ne say Barça betimi assign the Kudus register no. I am sure say that is why the supporters are happy. Because Barcelona supporter be am pie born in Nigeria and say the team ne be stronger. Now at least and every kind of competition omo compete biano and also omo wo mu biano omo betimi a win laurel scroll. I was our competition nimo say ye league, say ye Copa del Rey, say ye Champions League, whatever it is going to be no mo be jeje. So betimi anya sa na na you need a strong team. Obehia team more thing, team is strong, and so now team media judges and crew. And looking at the kind of quality of Barca dying the last season, should they get Nico and so be cut team in one, a very difficult the opponent to be a Barcelona be. Imagine say Obo Barcelona, na Nico Williams on the left flank, na Lamine Yamal on the right flank, na Rafinha, Ebo an auxiliary striker, and as number 10. Now Robert Lewandowski, ejina ni mu odema Barcelona bobo kono defense bi omobesia obi awo problem. Omobetete, omobe how eti ade na aba ne de. I think say this is the best news for every Barcelona supporter. Barca supporter be a news be no ma wate a chance news we e kwama da finally Nico Williams ebetimi aba be Barcelona player, and it is good news for every Barcelona fan kwaku. They say good news no send you see kind and nyina ko wie Nico, because good news way back now say when to me and signing Nico first so be na say be when you
supporters in
say Inter Milan for so say Chahanoglu so be so ko Galatasaray so be fa Ederson Atlanta for player no make Atlanta no on say akase inu no ko Kamadin sisi or the pendency paper so or no so I think it is done.
I'm hoping say
check what up.
Kamadin be picking the kind of former nim Kamadin tena woman, especially from any days. A year the Norwegian league and the French league and the Ansan will be playing in the English Premier League. Kamaldeen has been that player, or a very good player, no doubt about it, and the talent there, and you're questionable. But the problem has been the goal scoring. Any injuries are a hammer. We've seen Atlanta team now are transforming a lot of players. Among my best stars, Ademola Lookman is a typical example. Our own African brother, Mathieu Retegi is another example. And the Oma Yasadiana, but coach I know Yasadi and Gianpiero Gasparani is no more. And only me fear. Me need so much trust. I will coach Ivan Juric. But then again, it's a Niama Koye Diama Ivan Juric. He has trust in Kamaldeen Sulemana. On one Ekotono, I yes Adam Timbobo Konim. And I will feel on joining Atlanta. And I will feel say when who qualities are branded and process into the neighbor Atlanta, a better new coach in the project. When you have a coach or what trust, it really helps. Because onimbienti or the way they be Edward Dinachi and so they are called one player they be American me the example James Rodriguez and Carlo Ancelotti no matter for James Rodriguez whom say yes saying Carlo Ancelotti make him move over fan the number or the neighbor so be transform player no I'm on the performance as I see a cost so certain coaches have that thing with certain players and I'm hoping and praying say yenya Kamaldeen Sulemana ebenya saade ni bi with Ivan Juric e Atlanta na nema sesade ama coach no and brand because when he becomes a better player, it is for the good of a black star.
There is this one question I want to ask you. Now, yeah, wrap it up. When Ruben Amorim came to Manchester United, he made us think, say, he needs time to imbibe his three back. Yeah, maybe a season, United were still struggling after months.
Yeah.
Even now, we all can say, maybe a season and 5. Maybe in the preseason and never. Okay. Isn't it the same scenario with Real Madrid? Because it looks like Xabi Alonso did yehu kakra.
Yeah.
You see, and yet 3 back here now. One team is struggling to adapt, the other one M5, Madrid M5. But at least you see snippets of say that if they play together for a while, it will be much better. And yes, and it's a matter of coach, and it's a matter of the place, and it's a matter of the club and our tournaments. Hey,
Koku, I feel coaching a 1 and a 2 quality.
Okay.
These are the 2 things. I'm saying coaching because Ruben Amorim, the performance was Sporting Lisbon then bad. He was a league winner before joining Manchester United. But Obi Awaji League, one wrestle by Monica League in the Bundesliga. And Obi Awaji League, one wrestle FC Porto, Benfica League free on some, so will be Samia. Maybe the Awaji League or Bundesliga anymore, ahead of the OG League or Portuguese League anymore. So I'm going to pick Xabi Alonso as a better coach than Ruben Amorim. Look at the quality of players in the Real Madrid setup. Compare that to Manchester United. There is a gulf between the two when it comes to quality. Madrid and Manchester United. And I feel the Real Madrid players, they be a football net is a classroom. Watch that, IQ level was rocher yana canitirim. Obi no to here time and son what me pick at the watch. I am sure that the Madrid players per their meme huno are quick to adapt than the Manchester United players. And the Madrid players and Koku, Yanti players and they complaining about coaching the system and the tactics. But Manchester United, it was rumored. Say a lot of the players say, okay with the system of coaching the Bebono. And mentally, player Nankasa nin to say na me pesa me ye. E Manchester United bobo konim. E yet then no as a sack no to me game a coach in because football e adwinimo adwuma a hanom na sha see free. Etunya that change e wa hanom a and na obetimi adapt to the system of coach in the ba. But the Manchester United players are not even ready to adapt. That is why time be as America Ruben Amorim or Sema. I feel say ye season we say when on one kasa and signings no what the kind of players are me feel so no ni feel so obetimi dey here tomorrow. That is why I'm going to properly assess the coach's performance.
Okay. That's fine.
But for now, I feel say the difference between the two, and you coach in one, and the golfing quality between Real Madrid and Manchester United.
Well answered. Thank you very much, my brother. Ebe sound so eshabio na yer ho asem bro. Of course, he said here. Ebe bon komo ni bebre. Ya woni pa bebre a chef free jima igusu a ye on packing kakran nti nya ho abotre nyakopon shira because we are coming back again very very soon ye bobo afofra no be san so e dia bro nyakopon shira bebre bye bye.